So, hello and welcome to Blueprints Behind Business interview series. I'm your host, Brad Douglas, and today I'm joined by Maciej Fita with Brandignity. Maciej, thank you so much for joining us. Would you like to kick it off a little with a brief introduction, who you are and what you guys do?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're a full service digital marketing agency. We're located in Naples, Florida. We work primarily with small to medium sized businesses, and we do everything from full service SEO programs, pay-per-click advertising, social media, website design, all the really core items that a lot of businesses are looking for. We also offer some consulting, and we work as a white label partner for a handful of agencies that don't necessarily want to do what we do, but we're kind of an extension of their business. We've been around for about 10 years and yeah, going strong.
Fantastic. Thanks for that background. So, 10 years now, what inspired you to take that entrepreneurial leap?
I've always, so when I was like 10 years old, I was a paper boy in our neighborhood. And I did that for about 4 years, riding my bike in the rain and the snow, every Sunday, knocking on people with my hand open, waiting for that money. So I always had a little bit of that drive. When I was maybe a teenager, little older, like 12 or 13 years old, I tried to start a skateboard company. Me and my friends used to skateboard a lot. So that I was drawing up, doodling logos in a notebook and all that. So I knew there was something there. I knew I had it in me. I knew that I didn't really want to work for someone for forever. I went to college. When I graduated, I did the typical stuff, got some really annoying sales jobs, lots of cold calling, really didn't like it. I knew I wanted to work in marketing and do something a little bit more creative. Ended up leaving that industry altogether. And I said I wanted to work for a startup. And at the time we were living in Boston. I found a digital marketing agency that was pretty small. They just started up a couple of years prior. Really learned a lot. When the 2008 market crash happened, I absorbed like 3 or 4 different positions in the company. So I was still getting a paycheck, but I was overwhelmed with the amount of work I had, but I learned a lot. And from there, I was like, you know what, I should pretty much kind of just try to start my own thing. So I decided to become a freelancer, kind of did the freelance thing for a couple of years, and then kind of morphed into more of an agency model. We were offering different services. Initially, it was just a lot of SEO, but over time, we realized that there was a lot of overlap with different things. Whether you're ranking organically, sometimes you want a pay-per-click ad showing up in Google search. So there was a lot of overlap. So we just kind of became very multi-pronged. And I just realized that, at one point I just needed to make a little bit more of an income. And I knew it wasn't going to happen where I was working at the time, but thankfully I did learn a lot. So that kind of pushed me in that direction. And one day I just got up and, got my business license, built the website for myself. And there was a lot of 4 a.m. mornings for about the first 3 years, just doing whatever I could to attract as much attention to the website. At first, it was just, let's see how many eyeballs and visitors we can get to the site. So it was lots of social media, lots of blog commenting, putting out content, whatever we could do to get traffic to the site, because it's a trickle down effect. And we had an inbound marketing business model, which we also do a lot for our clients. So it was a lot of that. And then we kind of just kept growing, and here we are 10 years later, still hustling.
Fantastic. Great background there. So now that you've had your business for a while, what are some of the common misconceptions about running a business, and how do you address those?
That it's easy. There's no such thing as autopilot. You really do have to put in the time, especially in the early years of doing it. Cash flow battles are always important to keep an eye on. That's kind of one thing that I learned early on. You really want to be careful what you spend your money on. You're going to have to bootstrap. You're going to have to get your knuckles dirty. And you're just going to have to keep hustling and until you can get some employees and keep things rolling in that direction. But a lot of people sometimes think that you start a business and you kind of sit back and just collect the money, but it doesn't work that way. You got to have a passion. If you start a business, do something that you really enjoy, something that you're passionate about. Sometimes just starting a business to make money, even though you don't like it, that's sometimes backfires on people. So the biggest thing I could say is, it's going to be a lot of grinding away in the early years, and, have some heart in it.
Good insight there. Appreciate that. So, thinking in the very beginning a little bit, you did mention it a little bit here, but anything else that you can share that was a extremely valuable lesson or piece of advice that you wish you would have had? in when you started your entrepreneurial journey?
I think the biggest part of it, and I've seen people do this where they don't really know how to utilize their funds correctly. Think about what's the most important thing to drive visibility to your brand. And I know a lot of it is, testing different things, seeing what works, reallocating money. But I think the biggest thing for sometimes startups is they just run out of money doing silly things.
Mm.
And I see that a little bit more for companies that get like VC money. All of a sudden they get $15 million dumped into their account, or 25 million, whatever it might be. And like the most important thing is to have a pool table in the lobby. And it's not. So it's, you got to really just use your funds wisely.
Fantastic advice. So, how do you stay adaptable to and open to change with a constant evolving business landscape? Any kind of specific strategies that you use to remain innovative?
I'm not going to compare myself to a doctor, but you do have to constantly educate yourself because it is a very dynamic industry. It's constantly changing. And it just comes down to, allocating maybe an hour a day and just going through some of the top industry blogs in your space, reading what the experts are writing about, what they're talking about, and seeing what you can do to infuse some of that into your business, and just, keep your eye on what's going on and your finger on the pulse. And just make sure you're kind of aware of the changes. I know some of the changes come quickly, but you have to be good at rolling with the punches, I think, with any industry.
Very good advice. So, not to get too detailed, but can you share any kind of glimpse of future plans or goals that you have for your business?
One of the areas that we've always focused on, and it's something that we're trying to get stronger at, is having white label partners. It's been an area where if you develop a really great relationship, it's a very good business model, considering, you might have an agency that all of a sudden has 7 to 10 clients a month that they need something done that you offer that they don't really want to tackle themselves, rather than going off and trying to get that one-off client, and then maybe having them for 3 months and then leaving. Although those are still good and those are still important, pieces of the puzzle when building a business. But for us, I think we're trying to lean towards those partnerships with like-minded businesses that just need a good outsourced partner.
Fantastic. So I know we talked a little bit about it earlier on, and trying to help entrepreneurs start their own business. But anything else that you could share that you just feel would be, a fantastic nugget of information for anyone starting out?
Just see how much you could do yourself. There's so much out there. I think one of the biggest parts of starting a business these days is the marketing component. It's easy to go and do the legal stuff and get your LLC or S corp or whatever it might be. But see how much you could do yourself when it comes to a marketing standpoint. And that's kind of sounds weird me saying, because that's just taking meat off the plate for me. But, if you're tight on funds, it's not that difficult to build a website. It's not that difficult to start getting some blogging, social media. It's not that difficult. You just got to allocate some time every day to, invest into that component. There's so much information online, so much good information on how to do it yourself. So many good social media platforms, PPC platforms, SEO softwares. And I know it seems like a lot, but just, maybe focus on one per month and just kind of learn as much as you can, see how much you can do. Not saying you have to do it forever yourself, but it's good to kind of understand it before you hire someone. Because if you don't understand it and you're trying to hire someone, you don't really know if they're the right fit, because you don't have any clue about, what they're going to do. And you don't know what's good or bad. They might send you a report and you just have no clue if that's the right thing. So see how much you can do, learn a little bit, educate yourself, and it'll be easier for you. You'll get burned less by, the bad apples in the industry.
Yeah, learn by doing. Great advice
Yeah.
there. So thank you so much for your time today, Maciej. It was great meeting you, learning more about your business. I hope that we'll have you back on in the future. To everyone watching, have a great day, and we look forward to the next episode. Talk to you soon.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.